Hi, I'm Paul Salmon. I'm a spiritualist medium. My guest today is Amanda Hart, intuitive consultant. Hi Amanda.
Hi, Paul.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you again on My City.
Thank you.
Right now, I read your book, The Guys Upstairs, which we touched on last time.
Yeah.
A hefty book, and it didn't take me long. I found it gripping. Okay, actually gripping. But what I want to know, without giving anything away about the book, can you just tell us where you left off at the end and where you went next?
Yeah, because I left it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't actually know until the last chapter that it was actually going to be left on a cliffhanger. And that's when I went, oh my God, that means something else is going to happen, therefore there's going to be another book. And that's when I suddenly nosedived straight into a life change, which actually then brought about the sequel.
Because in the book you do say, I don't know where I'm headed, which pathway am I going on?
Yeah, I know.
So that's why I'm asking you, where did you go?
Oh God.
Well, how long, in the first place,
Yeah.
how long ago was that ending? Was it a couple of years ago?
That was 2013, so 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, and a lot's happened since then.
Give me a point of the direction you're going.
Okay, so at the time, I without giving away the essence of the book, I didn't write this book under rosy circumstances. I had to write it in secret. It took a course of about 5 years. I lost 6 chapters. I lost faith in the process. It was incredibly difficult, and I was writing it while I was in a violent relationship. My children and I were in danger, and it was just, I suppose it was the only thing that was keeping me going through that particular part of my life. The reason why I finished the book off was because I had a business, but I was working 7 days a week. I was in a relationship. I assumed we were moving along nicely. So he was going to retire, and we'd set up a whole life together. So it was incredible when I discovered he had this affair, and it wasn't about the affair itself and losing the relationship. It was, what on earth am I going to do? Because I had this plan, I had this understanding that my life was going to be, it was all planned out. It was all going to work for me. I had this vision, this hope. And it was all crushed in a moment. And not only that, I had taken out a huge amount of money as a loan to actually pay for the shop. So it was all in my name. So the dawn of realisation was, oh my gosh, I am going to continue with this on my own. I'm going to work 7 days a week, but I'm going to have to find a way to make this work. So that year after that, I worked, and as you know, with a family, I had 2 children, I had my 3 dogs, I had a home to run, and trying to work 7 days a week, it was just, it was too much. My health was going. I was trying to subsidise the shop because I wasn't earning enough, because obviously it was just one of me. So I started doing workshops again, I started seeing clients, I was doing anything I could, but obviously there's only so much energy somebody can expel.
What were these workshops in?
I went back to do my Waking the Success Mechanism workshops, which, ironically, that was really what woke me up to say, you know what, the shop's not what you're about. This was not your dream. You were going down this particular road, but actually we've just taken a sharp right turn here. But I held on to the shop because I don't create something and just walk away from it. So I struggled to do everything, and even tried to finish the book off. In fact, what I then did was contacted my old agent and said, look, I haven't finished this book, but is it viable? On the day before Christmas Eve, I got an email back to say, yeah, we've gone to 3 publishers, they've all said it's a goer, and that's when I thought, well, I've just got to do everything. So then I was editing and writing last thing at night, so I actually was sending off chapters to the editor and writing and finishing the book, not knowing, how this was all going to play out, until I burnt out. And then I walked out of my shop on the 11th of September 2014. I had a breakdown. by then, my health had just nosedived. Everything, all the systems in the body were shutting down. I had acute tinnitus. All these secondary symptoms that had come up from my meningitis had come back to haunt me. Bladder, bowel, stomach, digestive system. Head pains, crushing, not being able to sleep, just constant nerve pains, everything. My whole body was just shutting down. So, and that was, I only discovered how ill I was because I put my back out, went to an osteopath, and he said, if you don't stop what you're doing, you're going to kill yourself. You're actually seriously affecting the meninges around the brain again.
Sounds like everything's packing up.
It was. He said, you're likely to go back to where you were before in 2003 when I had meningitis. But that was in the August, and I said, well, I can't do anything about it. I've just got to carry on. And I did, but a month later, something happened. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. All I know is that a series of events happened that day. I won't go into too much detail because it's in the sequel. And I ended up walking out of the shop, and somehow it was almost like I'd just gone out and I was floating. You know that noise when you're just sort of falling in free fall? That's what it was like. I had no grounding. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no idea how on earth we were going to cope financially. I had 200 clients that relied on me to sell their goods through my shop. So I had all of these contacts that I had to deal with, apart from the debts, apart from, my home and my children and everything else. And over the course of the next couple of months, it got worse. I was persecuted by somebody who tried to discredit me, put it that way, because it didn't serve their purpose for me to walk away from my shop. But I thought, do you know what? If I'm not meant to be there and there is a higher purpose, the guys upstairs are going to sort it out for me, and they did.
And in the meantime, your health is still at that low point?
No. I started going to get tests through the doctors. They couldn't work out what was going on. Eventually, and it's taken about a year, I went to a cranial specialist, an osteopath, who recognised that the meninges around my brain tightens, and then what happens, that travels down the spine, and it was affecting because the spine connects to all the systems in the body. And that was what was causing my problems with digestion and all the other functions. And I still suffer from fatigue. I say suffer, I don't. I'm very fortunate. I go to the gym. I do 7 sessions at the gym a week. However, if I walk up my stairs at home, I'll have to sit on my bed because I'm exhausted. My family, my friends see what I'm like. By Friday, I'm absolutely zonked. I can't move. I'm just exhausted. So I manage my symptoms well. But my osteopath, fortunately, touch wood, he has relieved many of my symptoms. And I'm now going to a neurologist just to see how I can manage life after post-meningitis. Not because, I want to find solutions. I'm quite happy with the symptoms because actually it's what drives me to do the things I do.
Yeah. And these things, you help others, don't you, by healing in your... Do you do Reiki? Is it Reiki you do?
Reiki was something I used to do back in the early days. Right. Reiki works with what we call the alpha frequency of the mind. Right. That's the healing frequency, so it helps to elevate and it helps to recondition the body.
What do you mean by alpha? Because I need to ask you what you mean, because last time you talked about the theta as well.
Yes.
Can you explain what the alpha and theta are?
When I teach this in the classes, I talk about 4 main frequencies in the mind. So when we're born, we start developing part of our brain, which is what we call the delta frequency. It's the slowest frequency. It's the frequency we experience when we're in our deepest realms of sleep. It's where we're disconnected from everything. We're only with the consciousness. Then you develop the theta frequency. That's where all our programs are housed. So it's like I suppose, where you stick the software in the computer. It tells you how to let the computer run. And then you have the alpha frequency, which is about developing the self. It's about knowledge, absorbing of knowledge. It's about being whole. It allows you to see things through consciousness, but also be here in the physical world as well. And then you've got beta, which is actually the logical mind thinking, which actually is only housed in the left hemisphere of the brain, because the others are this side, which is all about working arithmetic, working out how much money you've got left in the bank. You'll be in beta if you're on the treadmill or rushing for the bus, you quick thinking, that sort of thing.
So how did you get from your illness to, I mean, that must have played a part in your healing yourself, I
Yes,
expect.
well, I discovered theta was that's the key area for healing, because that's where the programs are. So Reiki is lovely because it works on alpha, but a lot of people go and have a Reiki session, but they go back into life again. And if they've got troubles, or they've got problems, or they're worrying about debts or relationships, they go back into what we call beta. So it's nice, it's temporary, and it does help to rejuvenate the body and heal, but you still have the programs running, so you still have the same scenarios going on. Clients come to me to help to relieve themselves of the programs that don't serve them anymore.
Right.
And I discovered how to get rid of my programs when I had meningitis. That's how it all came about.
Right, I was going to ask you, so how did you make that move from your illness, when did this take place, and how into learning all about this?
Yeah, well, okay, so as a hypnotherapist, I understood that you can only help 50% of people. That's the rough average. And I got frustrated with that, because I'm a solution finder all the time. My father was an entrepreneur, so it's always about, how do I get the right solution? How do I make the best out of my life? So I suppose I've got that drive in me in that sense.
Okay, yeah.
So I looked at this and I thought, well, I'm sitting there talking to this client, but actually I'm not talking to that client, am I? I'm talking to their program. So I'm trying to negotiate with the enemy. I'm trying to talk to their program and say, please, Mr. Nasty Program, would you move and let this person get on with their life, please?
I see, yeah.
So I thought, well, there's got to be a way to do this. It was only when I was actually in A&E and I was in and out of consciousness, I was in theta.
Right.
And it was when I heard the doctor say she's only got about an hour to get her husband in, I suddenly thought, I can't leave these two children. And I said, whatever it is I need to do, show me. And because I had my hands on my stomach, I was in the best place possible because I could send energy to me. But because I was in theta, I suddenly realised that I could actually tell myself that I needed to let go of this program because I was in the right frequency. So before, when I've been stressing about things or I've been working in alpha, I wasn't actually getting into the program box because I was naturally there, and my intention was definitely to survive. It was the driving force that allowed that program to shift, and that's what created the life change from that.
All right. So by self-healing, doing it yourself, you can now pass on that knowledge to
Yes.
others.
So most people that come to see me, most of my clients come to me as the last port of call. They tend to be in a really dire situation. You know, it's massive life change. They don't come along for a nice, woo-woo session. It's because their life's falling apart. They've got, a condition, a health condition, which might be life-threatening. That they might be in an abusive relationship. And I also deal with a lot of historical aspects as well. So a lot of people who've been abused in the past or are abused now, and it all links to the past. So that's why my work is very much geared towards helping people relieve themselves of programs that relate to the past.
So I can't believe the time's gone now.
Yeah.
So you best tell me, keep me up to date then.
Yes.
What's happening? What about the book?
The book, it was just because I was so poorly and I needed to get this out in 1 year. So this time last year, I said, look, if you want this book to get out, I've got to find something, because I went bankrupt. I lost my home. I rehomed my dogs.
Yeah.
I had nothing left except for this rented home, my kids, and I managed to scrape through my reputation. I managed to deal with everything that I dealt with, but I'd lost everything. The only thing I had was this book. So what I did was I said, right, okay, show me what to do. And they showed me this in this dream that I had to do something to do with crowdfunding. Never heard of it before, didn't even know what the concept was. Everyone said to me, this is stupid, you can't do anything like that. So as soon as people tell me that, I think, right, okay, I'll do that. So I put this out, and I had 30 days to get the money together for the publishing of the book and for the PR for it. And with 21 hours to go, we got a donator that came through. We had 70 pledges up to that point, but we were still £5,000 off the mark. And with 21 hours to go, we had a donation from a client that had said, I just heard your radio interview, and I can't let you not get this. And that's how it came about. And then from that moment, it was just a whirlwind. A campaign came out of this. We suddenly realised that there was a law change that was coming up, which was all to do with the stuff that I was talking about in the book. I've got experts that have endorsed the book. I've been offered from three different people, one in Florida, one in in Hawaii, and one in the UK, all offering films for the book. We've got 3 documentaries offered, and one is the International Psychic Challenge in the Ukraine. So, it's nice getting these offers in, but you've got to think, what is going to be for the highest good of everybody here? You go away with a trophy, nice crown of whatever on your head, but it's not going to benefit you. But these things are all coming in now.
So what is the big picture? What is the aim initially?
A lot of it I can't talk about because we're having to go into negotiations, but I'm currently writing the sequel to the book.
Okay.
I'm writing for Universal magazine now. I'm doing lots of interviews all the time and talks. I'm at Olympia next week, so I'm actually talking in the Love Dome. So the main aim is getting out there and talking about this, but it's been asked to go over to the States, and it's going to go out there, and then it's obviously we want it to become a film because that's going to get the bigger message out there.
So and the message is about the abuse and
it's linked
control.
up. Yes, it's linked up with the current law change which happened on the 29th of December, which is to do with the Serious Crimes Act. The coercive control element was never accepted before, but Professor Stark from America, he realised that actually there's 95% of domestic violence is actually all about coercive control, which has now been incorporated into the law. Because people realise that, and I don't say it's an expert, but because I have this experience of life after being a victim, and the fact that I help victims become survivors, I've got a lot to talk about and a lot to influence people with to help in that process. So I've been asked by Min Grove, who is the conference leader, to help put a programme together to help victims. And I've been asked to back a charity which is called Believe, which is helping support victims as well. So lots of really, fantastic things that are going to help, really make a difference.
Excellent. Well done you.
Thank you. And my health is okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I think you need to give yourself a pat on the back for what you've put into your...
I never do that. I never stop until I actually get there. And I still never get there because I've always got something else I've got to go for.
Yeah, I think you always will do, Amanda.
I think I always will.
Thanks ever so much.
You're welcome.
Lovely to see you again.
Bless you. And you, Paul.
And take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.